Do we have clout? Sports Friday has clout. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jim Miller, Sid Michaels, week number 4 of high school football. In the back, look back there. It's Cowboy Man. Look at Cowboy Man. Paul DeFabo pushing the buttons.
And running the show, former 1,000-yard rusher from the Houston Oilers, Gary Brown.
No.
Wait a minute.
No,
That's not. Wait, that's not.
Wait a minute. That's not Gary Brown. This is Gary Brown. That's
Go
not...
Browns!
Biggest Brown fan in the world.
That's right.
It's not Gary Brown from the Oilers, but we'll take him. Great guy, great high school football. Cowboy Man, as I said, ready to go. You'll meet Sandy later. Let's meet the first set of games, rock and roll, with Berwick High School football and Bloomsburg High School football. Hit it, Paul. Game 1 tonight, the Bulldogs of Berwick take the lead on the opening drive. Dave Robbins on the keeper turns the right side for the score, 7-0 Berwick. Big night for George Curry tonight, his 250th career victory at Berwick High School. Sports photographer Rich Charneski with the Purple Heart in this game. He hangs tough on this pass from Dave Robbins to Justin to John Domenico for 27 yards and the key first down. Rich was not hurt and he played on. Later, Robbins goes up top and finds Brian Remley down the right side with a 60-yard touchdown pass, and Berwick rolls to another easy victory. In Game 2, the big play was what this football game was all about. This is B.J. Thomas on the call. He turns the left side, he shakes and bakes and slides, and he was gone. 49 yards for the score as Bloomsburg rolls over the Queensmen of Bishop O'Reilly on a wet Friday night in local high school football. Ladies and gentlemen, the scoreboard. The Bulldogs over the Tigers 46-6. Bloomsburg knocks off Bishop O'Reilly. Your final was 36-30. Sid?
Thanks, Jim. Let's go to the Big 11 now. A battle of unbeatens. Two teams trying to go 4-0 on the season. The Valley View Cougars at the Scranton Prep Cavaliers. Paul?
Which one? What should I do? Get going.
Hit it.
Get going.
It was some night for Valley View junior back Brian Fisher. On the Cougars' first play of the second half, Fisher takes the ball, breaks several tackles, gets into the open, puts the hammer down, and he was gone. A 73-yard touchdown run. He had a 56-yarder in the first half. The Cougars led Scranton Prep 12-7. Valley View's defense turned in an outstanding effort tonight. 3rd and 1 for Prep. John Manko takes down quarterback Brian Holmes for a 7-yard loss. Later in the second half, Valley View, a 92-yard drive. Fisher had 72 of those yards on 8 carries. Quarterback John Munley would cap the march with a sneak from the 1. The Cougars are 4-0 on the season, 2-0 in the Big 11 as they beat Scranton Prep tonight.
And now we go to the scoreboard. The Dunmore Riverside game postponed because of the rain until tomorrow, 1:30 in Taylor. Valley View, they go to 4-0 on the season, 2-0 in the league, 26-13 over Scranton Prep.
You know, about a year ago, I had to put up with your machoism and bodybuilding and losing weight and physique this and physique that. My friends tell me that you have been sloughing off.
No, I've been in the gym steady every day.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a source. Mr. Trainer, Bob Hohut, come in here and tell him what he hasn't been doing. This is Bob Kohut, his personal trainer.
Hey, Sid, you haven't been in the gym. Now, when I met you, you looked like Humpty Dumpty, okay? And I turned you into a sportscaster Adonis.
Now, wait a minute. This is football. You want to come in and hog the show, you got to work.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up. Step aside, buddy. I did a little work. Here's West Scranton and Abington Heights. Hit it, Paul. Sid's buddy and West Scranton rooter Chris Zelozinski was at the game, sporting the Eyewitness News lid tonight. First half action, West on the move at the Abington Heights 27. But this pass is intercepted by Duncan Grodak and returned to the 27-yard line. That kicked off a 73-yard march capped by Jeremy Rosina's 1-yard plunge. 6-0 Abington Heights. West Scranton came back with a nice drive of their own, going 69 yards in 13 plays. Jason Weibel rips off the 13-yard gain. Quarterback Corey Joyce would finish it off with a great fake into the line. He races around the near side, but Abington Heights would pull this one out in the second half. The final, Abington Heights 22, West Scranton 13. And the score, as you see it, Abington Heights 22, West Scranton 13.
You really did that?
I really did that.
That's amazing, man. Keep pumping that iron, baby.
Next week, Jim, we're going to get you in the gym, and you're going to wear the do-rag.
That's a real deal, baby.
I
Keep
gotta see
pumping
that.
that iron. Sports Friday night, rainy night. We found some games. We'll be back with Cocky Cowboy Man in just a moment with Sports Friday. Do it.
We're the Bird Cheerleaders! Sports Friday will be right back! Sports Friday!
Welcome back to Sports Friday, everyone. I'm Jim Miller, along with Sid Michaels and the cockiest Dallas Cowboy man in the world. This is Jeff Gadasi. Last week, you had to beg, borrow, and steal to beat the Minnesota Vikings in
Jimmy, what are you talking
overtime.
about? I don't stick for the
Cowboys.
Steelers. Let me just show you something. Ready? Jimmy, take a look here in 3.
No. No way.
For the touchdown.
Hey,
How about that, baby?
you talk the talk and walk the walk.
All right, brother.
Man's hot. Back to high school football for more games. Here's Fast Eddie Horrigan. Heavy duty dude.
Our first game has North Pocono at Shikellamy. The Trojans are up 14-0, but the Braves are driving when Jeff Golka comes up with a big interception on the 3-yard line. From there, Kislowski gives to Lukey, and he picks up 6 yards on the ground. Then Kislowski gives to Fuller, and he powers his way for 6 yards and the first down. The Trojans continue this pattern until Kislowski airs it out from the 47-yard line, and he connects with Romanello for 37 yards all the way to the 16-yard line. The North Pocono drive stalls there as the Trojans settle for a 14-0 halftime lead. The defending Class AA state champs, Mount Carmel Red Tornadoes, look to take a step up tonight as they take on the AAA Shamokin Indians. Late in the third quarter, Shamokin up 9-0 and deep in Mount Carmel territory. The Indians go for it on 4th down. Todd Hockenbach tosses to Jamie Wislowski, and he picks up 7 yards and the first down on the 2-yard line. From there, Hockenbach goes up the middle for the touchdown as Shamokin improves to 2-2, pinning the first loss of the season on Mount Carmel. The Red Tornadoes now 3-1. For Sports Friday, I'm Ed Horrigan.
The scoreboard, the Trojans of North Pocono 21, Shikellamy nothing. Shamokin knocks off Mount Carmel 15-0, and it was North Schuylkill over Blue Mountain 21-0. Sid?
And now to prove to you, and to prove to you, and to prove to you back there that I have not been slacking off, I figured, what do you think?
Well, give me one
Get
of
out of
these.
here, get out. Let's go back, Sandy, our audio Chiron operator. Where's the Rusty Wallace note this week? Let's go to Steve Shenevy now. He covered a couple of games tonight. Myers played Natticoke. GAR went against Wyalusing, and it was Lake Lehman at Hanover area. Hit it, Paul.
Trailing 7-0 early in the game, Natticoke receiver Ryan Stetz pulls in this Jason McDermott pass and streaks down the sideline toward the end zone and 6 points. The kick failed, but the Trojans made up for it on the kickoff as Mark Welsh falls on the loose ball. The drive would stall a few plays later as Quentin Harris knocks down this 4th down pass in the end zone. At Hanover, the Hawks were trying to hold off Lake Lehman, but that means stopping quarterback John Oliver, both in the air and on the ground. Mike Pitcavage finally pushed it across the stripe from 6 yards out to lead the Black Knights. In the preseason, GAR was one of the favorites to win the title. They started out 0-3. The good news is they've been playing better lately. The bad news is tonight they face Wyalusing, who's 3-0. When Wyalusing's David McCarty took off down the right sideline, only one man stood between him and 6 points. Fortunately for GAR, it was Alex Janoski. He kept McCarty out of the end zone. Jeremy Jones finally crossed the stripe on a 2-yard plunge, but the Rams had already spotted GAR 14 points. And all Janoski had to do was sit on the ball as the Grenadiers finally post their first win of the year. For Sports Friday, Steve Shenevy, 28 Eyewitness Sports.
Okay, now we go to the scores. There you see Myers beating Natticoke area 35-13. Lake Lehman with the shutout. And finally, as Steve mentioned, GAR picking up that first win of the year, 14-7. Pittston area, Hazelton area, they were postponed because of the rain. Jim?
Thank you, Sid. Jim Miller, Cowboy Man, Jeff Gadasic. Arizona comes to town
Arizona,
this week,
Buddy
baby.
Ball. Looking forward to pal. Buddy Ball. Ooh,
Big D.
It's gonna be tough. Oh, yeah, 4
Big
o'clock
D in
start.
Dallas.
Oh, we're all over the Cardinals, baby. Looking tough. Championship, here we come. Steelers? I don't know.
Write him some letters. He needs some fan
Vikings
mail.
at home?
More high school football from Williamsport. Here's Jolton Joe Garrison.
Leading off the West Branch action, Jersey Shore at Montoursville. Dwayne Reeder puts the home blue up early. Second play from scrimmage, past the sliding secondary, and goes 67 yards for the game's first score. Montoursville's next drive stalls as quarterback Kurt Knott's pass is picked off at grass level by Bulldog Sean Boyer. Their next possession, Adam Alexander takes the handoff from Knott and goes 35 yards downfield. Reeder caps their second scoring drive from 2 yards out. Montoursville up by 14. Second quarter action, the Warriors go to the option and Knott keeps it. He heads for the corner and is just run out of bounds at the 1. Kurt then finishes what he started and put the Warriors up by 3 touchdowns.
Game 2 tonight, and let me tell you something, it's cold. I think it's time for the Sports Friday jacket. But I tell you what isn't cold, that's the Loyal Sock offense. At the half, they're up 27-0 over Hughesville.
The Loyal Sock offense looks for more in the second half as star tailback Tyrone Quartman explodes for 30 yards to set up this 6-yard touchdown run by quarterback Rance Pryor to put Sock up by 34. A last-minute TD by Terrence Quartman seals the deal as Loyal Sock romps 40-0. For Sports Friday, I'm Joe Garrison.
The scoreboard, Montoursville 35-8, Loyal Sock 40, Hughesville nothing, Valley West and Williamsport tomorrow night, and I can't believe what's going to happen, Sid.
Finally, I've been working with Jim for 13 years. He's never given me the chance to say this tonight, folks. And now, the scores from other games throughout the area, and as always, we sincerely hope
that your favorite team won.
All right, all right. We've got the Phillies. The Yankees were rained out. What happened in NASCAR? Penn State football this weekend. And the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sports Friday will be right back. Hit it, Paul.
Cheerleaders and Sports Friday will be right back.
For the latest weather, sports, and lottery information, call the 28 Eyewitness News info line at 1-900-680-2828.
Welcome back to Sports Friday, everyone. Jim Miller along with Sid Michaels. The quick baseball story. We've got 30 seconds.
Yeah, we have the wild cards. Let's go to some scores now and let's check them out. And let's check out the scores. There we are. Texas 8, California 3. We have Cleveland beating Kansas City 5-3. Also, Cincinnati beat Philadelphia 3-2.
NASCAR?
And St. Louis 3, Houston nothing. No NASCAR today. It was rained out.
Penn State,
and
Rutgers.
a subliminal message right there. Ryder Cup United States leads 5-3. We have it for you tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Gary Brown. Thank you, crew. And ladies and gentlemen, more importantly, thank you. See you next week. Well, Mr. Mayor, how did we do?
Well, Jim, from one kid from Manuka to a kid from Kaiser Valley, you done good. Only kidding, kids. Now, Jim, could I interest you in this tape? The Mayor and the Poets. This is great rock and roll. You can get this at Boscov's.
He's selling us a tape.
Jim, but it's good. And you know what they told me? Don't give up your day job, Mayor.
Does it have a bullet? Is it going to the top?
It's number one with a bullet.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sports Friday and the Mayor of Scranton, Jimmy Connors.
Call the meeting to order. Mr. Clerk, I have a resolution in regard to Sports Fridays. If you'd read it, please.
Resolution, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Wilkes Barre that after watching Sports Friday this season, the City Council hereby urges the staff of Sports Friday to go out and work a little bit harder for the athletes and keep Tom McGroarty off the news.
I second that.
Motion by Mr. Mengrenhausen, second by Mr. Layton.
Call for the vote.
Roll call. Boris.
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye.
Latinsky.
Aye. Don't forget, it is Education Week.
Reddick.
Aye.
McGroarty.
Abstain.
Mengringhausen.
Aye.
Layton.
Aye.
On a vote of 6 yea, 1 abstention, the resolution is adopted.
Resolution is adopted. Does Sports Friday have any comments on the resolution?
Hey, what can I say? You guys run the city. I guess we'll have to work a little bit harder.
You think you guys can fix the potholes?
Start the show. It's time for Sports Friday.
Sports Friday. Sports Friday.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Jim Miller along with Sid Michaels. This is week 9 of local high school football and, of course, Sports Friday. Happy Halloween, everyone. Ron Powlis, Irish in Notre Dame. What the heck is this?
I think it's a duck?
Domino?
A mighty duck.
Hey, start the show.
Let's introduce the players. We'll do it as we go along, starting with our director, Sandy, right here. Who will direct the show. We'll tell you about the rest as we go
You'll
along.
meet the crew as we go along. First game tonight, big one. Myers in Wyoming area. Sandy, roll that tape. The Warriors of Wyoming area move the football on their first series of the game. Ben Kopko gets the call and turns the right side and rolls 46 yards to the Myers 21-yard line. The Warriors then go up top to score as Tony Scatina rolls to his right and finds Nick Carcio with his 23-yard pass, and the Warriors now led it 6-0. In the second quarter, it was Wyoming area and Ben Kopka on the move once again. Kopka gets the call and takes it to the outside and races 35 yards to the Myers 30-yard line. Later in the quarter, it's Scatina on 4th and 2, finding Nick Carcio with this pass to the Myers 2-yard line and a 1st and goal at that point. On the very next play, Kopka gets the call and powers over for the score from the 1, and the Warriors of Wyoming area go on to another big-time victory in local high school football. The numbers once again, ladies and gentlemen. Wyoming area over Myers 21-6, Coughlin 35, Tunkhannock 7. Sid, what about the Bulldogs of Berwick? What happened to their game?
Well, they fell victim to the weather tonight. Their game postponed until Monday. They will be playing Hazelton area at that time, 7 o'clock. The game gets underway. Steve Sheneby is on hand tonight, and he was at the game between the Spartans of Valley West and the Pittston area Patriots.
There's a couple of changes with the Valley West program this year. A new coach, Jim Catapio, a new attitude, and perhaps most importantly, these guys are getting ready for the postseason. It's the first time in years the Spartans will be in the playoffs, but tonight it was the Patriots who were first to light up the scoreboard as Mike Owens follows his block and punches it in from 6 yards out. Valley West fires right back as Mark Zlotek rolls right, then lofts a perfect pass to Joe Tomczak. He takes it all the way down to the 29. That's where Steve Williams takes the handoff, cuts inside, and scrambles untouched for the score. The kick is good, and that's the difference as the Spartans jump on top 7-6. Owens knocks off a big gainer in the second as he takes the screen, then rumbles downfield. Unfortunately, it was third and halfway back to Pittston. The Spartan defense holds on 4th down as Valley West moves one step closer to a playoff appearance. For Sports Friday, Steve Sheneby, 28 Eyewitness Sports.
And now let's go to the final of that one. Valley West wins at the final was 27-6. As I said, we'll tell you about the players as we go along. Jane Ann, she's directing this whole thing. Jane Ann Bugda, and dressed as an Eyewitness News videographer, Mark Rothenberger. Say hello, Mark. Hello. Happy Halloween, Mark. Now dressed as Jim Miller, it's Jim Miller.
Rookie of the Year candidate Glenn Cronauer is off this week. We have found another Rookie of the Year candidate, Alex Kopaz. Alex checks out Crestwood and GAR.
Both Crestwood and GAR look to finish their season strong here tonight at Wilkes Barre Memorial Stadium. But when you face a team like the Grenadiers on the turf, especially with their tremendous team speed, a lot of things could happen. We picked this one up with GAR up by 3 midway through the third period. The Grenadiers then turned over the offense to their explosive running attack. Here, flashy Manuel de Graffenried gets things jump-started with a nifty 16-yard run. Later, de Graffenried extends the GAR lead with a 2-yard scoring scamper. Alex Janoski finds the end zone on the two-point conversion, and the Grenadiers' lead was 11. Crestwood countered in blazing fashion. Here, quarterback Kevin Zarowski drops back and fires the long ball 57 yards to a streaking Greg Myers, good for a Comet score. The Grenadiers again featured their explosive speed on the ensuing possession. Janoski here hooks up with wideout Bob Wickheiser over the middle. Wickheiser turns on the Jets, good for a 46-yard gain. Later, DeGraff and Reed scoots in from the 1 for a Grenadiers score. The Comets got a final touchdown minutes later. Zarowski connects with Andy Costello. 57 yards later, the score stood where it ended, 38-32. For Sports Friday, I'm Alex Topaz.
Alex, you're the man. 38-32 GAR, Southern Columbia over Central Columbia, 32-0. Coming up next, Cowboy Man. We'll check him out. Guess who's in his lineup this week? Neon, Dion, Sanders. Sandy Wisniewski running the show. We're Sports Friday, and we'll be right back.
And stand your way for a time trumpet. Under the field direction of Drum Major Lawrence Sofletta.
Sports Friday. Welcome back to Sports Friday, everyone. Jim Miller, Sid, Cowboy Man, Neon, going back to my house in Atlanta. Hey, Pittsburgh and Jacksonville, you got some trash laid on me, baby.
Humiliation, an expansion team defeat.
All right, play
Let's
a
go back and
tape.
look at it in 3 again. Remember this play?
That's a long time ago.
Here's our good friend Alvoy May. See him there? Where is he? Nowhere to be found again.
That's a long time ago.
Of course, the sharp defense.
We've lost since then.
Touchdown, Cedric Tillman.
Okay. What's going to happen this week?
Well, they're going to go. Well, I don't know. I'm picking the Steelers to win, but they've been boning me all year, Jimmy.
Hey, we're tied for first. Shut up. Sid, do it.
Speaking of first, Big 11, Valley View, still undefeated. Cowboy Man, roll it.
Roll the tape, will you, Neon?
Valley View's John Savage recovered a fumble on the game's third play. And the Cougars turned it into this 14-yard scoring pass from John Munley to a wide-open Randy Hanyon. Valley View led West Scranton 7-0. The Cougars then held on downs. Hanyon would field the West Scranton punt on his own 36-yard line. He gets into the open and carries the football all the way down to the Invaders' 11. They put Valley View in great field position. The very next play saw Brian Fisher take the handoff and dance his way into the end zone as the Cougars remain unbeaten. Big winners tonight over West Scranton. Now this was hard-hitting action tonight at Dunmore, but this ball carrier had no chance. Leading Scranton High 7-0 in the second, Dunmore's Brian Fragioni takes the ball around the left hand. He gets the corner and races all the way to the end zone, but the play was called back by a penalty. It didn't discourage the Bucks on 3rd and long. Quarterback Sean Gallagher has all day. He looks and throws to a well-covered Gary Beadle, who makes a great catch for the touchdown as Dunmore goes on to beat Scranton High tonight. At Lackawanna County Stadium, Abingtonites broke open their game with Scranton Prep in the second half. The screen to Jeremy Rosina on 3rd and 10 from the 39. He goes all the way for the touchdown at a 21-7 lead. A Prep fumble would set up the next Abingtonite score, a 32-yard field goal by Mike Friedberg. It was 24-7. Moments later, outstanding anticipation by the Comets' Eric Miller as he takes the interception in full stride, and he was gone. Nothing but end zone in front of him. Abingtonites down Scranton Prep. And the finals now as we go to the scoreboard. It's again Valley View still undefeated, 42-7. Dunmore 27, Scranton High 6. Dunmore Valley View play next Friday at Dunmore. Abingtonites 38, Scranton Prep 7. Jimbo?
Thank you. In the Chiron room with Mr. Fighting Irish Tom Honnell. No prediction last week. I made it. I said that Notre Dame would beat Southern Cal. It's Boston College this week. On to football. Notre Dame will win it. Show Riverside and North Pocono, Cowboy Man. The Trojans would stumble early on offense in this one as Riverside's Ben Thomas recovers the fumble handoff. Then Jeremy Ransom takes the handoff, cuts off left tackle, and races 30 yards to set up the first score of the night as he comes through the gaping hole. That sets up the first score of the night. The Riverside defense would come through as Jamie Szyminski would pick off a pass eventually and return it to the North Pocono 15-yard line. Here's the play right there. It's picked off. He returns it to the 15-yard line, and then 3 plays later, Ransom would get the call and take it over from the 3. Riverside led it 12-0. The scoreboard, Riverside over North Pocono, 18-0. Bishop O'Hara and Old Forge goes tomorrow night. Mike, walk in there, Cowboy Man, give it to Sid, and quickly talk about the game this weekend.
Joe, baby.
You got Jolton Joe. Williamsport, tell me about the Cowboys this weekend.
Cowboys,
Jeff George,
prime time, Darren Smith's back, big win. Let's roll.
Dion or Colonel Sanders?
Ricky Sanders, Washington.
Roll Jolton Joe.
At Sports Friday, we don't fool around, and neither do the undefeated Lock Haven Bobcats. First play from scrimmage, quarterback Matt Hines hits Travis 40 on this 62-yard bomb. 2 plays later, junior Mike Rendos goes in from 2 yards out to give them a 7-point lead over the Jersey Shore Bulldogs. Second quarter action, Lock Haven up by 10. Hines fades back and looks over the middle and finds Joe Hanna Jr. The big tight end rumbles for 52 yards to give the Bobcats a 17-0 lead. Game 2 tonight, we head to Williamsport where the Millionaires host the Pottsville Crimson Tide. The Home Red is up 14-0 on the strength of Steve Waugh's 2 touchdown runs. Pottsville in white and on offense in the third. Quarterback Jamie Carell looks for 6, but finds 4. Number 4, Jim Arp of Williamsport, as he goes 100 yards the other way for the touchdown. Carell goes to the well once again, but this time they win the jump ball. That would set up Carell's first of 2 rushing touchdowns on the night. This sweep made the score 21-7 Williamsport. But the playoff-bound Millionaires were too tough tonight as Waugh goes 61 yards late in the game for his 3rd score. The final 28-14 Williamsport. For Sports Friday, I'm Joe Garrison.
And there you see the finals. Williamsport 28, Pottsville 14. Lock Haven does the shutout on Jersey Shore 45-0.
Now the scores of other games played throughout the area tonight. As always,
we sincerely hope your favorite team won. Welcome back to Sports Friday. Jim Miller, what about Penn State and Notre Dame? Happy Halloween!
Is that thing talking to me, Jane? Yes. Sandy, Penn State, Indiana tomorrow. Big Ten Conference action. Beaver Stadium and State College. The Lions looking for their 3rd straight conference championship. Next week it's on the road. The Wildcats at Northwestern. Notre Dame and Boston College tomorrow right here on TV-28. And Sid, what about the poll? You got a race from somewhere, I'm sure.
Phoenix tomorrow. Bill Elliott's on the pole. Dale Earnhardt 2nd. Jeff Gordon 3rd.
Steelers, Jacksonville Sunday. Jane, it's over. It's over.
See you next week for Sports Friday.
Everyone. Well, go. Is it time to do the show? Ladies and gentlemen, John Davies. Say that right there.
How about that? Ladies and gentlemen, the Lake Lehman Marching Band.
Hey, this is for real.
How about that?
You have more?
Yeah, I do have more, Jim. Ladies and gentlemen, the Valley West Cheerleaders.
Come on in, kids. All right. Now you got to introduce the starting rotation. Go.
Gotcha. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Miller.
Thank you very much.
Sid Michaels.
Thank you.
And our race car pro, Joe Amato.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is week number 10 of local high school football. We thank Joe, we thank John Davies and the Valley West Cheerleaders for coming on tonight, as well as the Lake Lehman High School Marching Band. 10th week of football. Big game tonight in Dunmore. Sid Michaels has that story. Sid, it's yours, man.
Jim, thank you. It was a chance for Dunmore to gain a share of the Big 11 championship, a chance for Valley View to finish the season undefeated, the regular season, that is. That's one of the games we covered tonight, but we'll start in Taylor with West Scranton and Riverside. Hit it, Sandy. Riverside scored the first 2 times they had the ball against West Scranton tonight. Quarterback Harry Armstrong hits Brian Butts with this pass. 25 yards down to the West Scranton 2-yard line. It would set up Armstrong's sneak 2 plays later. 6-0 Vikings. Riverside got the ball back. 4th and 9 from the 25. Armstrong and Butts hook up again, this time down to the 10. Set up another Armstrong touchdown. Riverside over West 15-13. Unbeaten Valley View trailed Dunmore 14-0 late in the second. On the option, John Munley goes in from the 5. It's 14-7 at half. Third period, 4th and 3 from the Dunmore 31. Brian Fisher takes the pitch. He gets the corner and goes 31 yards for the touchdown, but the Cougars missed the point after 14-13. Midway through the third quarter, Dunmore coach Jack Hanses was stricken ill on the sideline. He's in the intensive care unit of Scranton's Mercy Hospital in stable condition. An inspired Dunmore defense would then shut down the Cougars over the rest of the game, handing Valley View their first loss of the year, and Dunmore gains a share of the Big 11 title.
Well, we came together. It was instilled by Coach Henders and the rest of us, their coaching staff. We just knew we could do it. We just had to stick together and try not to make too many mistakes.
Okay, now for the finals, 5-time world top fuel drag racing champion, Joe Amato.
Dunmore beat Valley View tonight in the final, and also Riverside beat West.
And the final of that, Joe?
15-13.
John?
Incidentally, what about the Berwick Bulldogs?
You mean the defending AAA state champion Bulldogs of Berwick? They were on the road tonight. They were playing at Lehighton. For those highlights, here is Steve Shenevy.
Lehighton defense kept Berwick out of the end zone until late in the first quarter when Dave Robbins scores on the keeper to cap off a 14-play drive. The next time down the field was a different story, though, as Robbins hits Brian Remley on the first play of the drive from 33 yards out. 2 minutes later, it was Robbins to Remley again, this time from 29 yards away as Remley hauls it in over the shoulder. Berwick would head to the locker room with a 20-0 lead. Mike Semenoff's 34-yard run would set up the Indians' first points of the game as Jason Nostein hands off to 275-pound Mick Snyder. He scrambles, then finds John Davis in the back of the end zone. That brings Lehighton to within 2 touchdowns of the lead, but Berwick would put this one away as Tommy Lockhardt's second interception of the game sets up Ross Stoico. He powers in for the 5 in the second half as Berwick goes on to the 19-point win. With the win, the Dogs wrap up yet another undefeated regular season. Now they head into the playoffs #1 in the state, and according to at least one poll, #1 in the country. In Lehighton, Steve Shenevy, 28 Eyewitness Sports.
In the final tonight, Berwick 26, Lehighton 7.
Hey, Valley West and Coughlin on the rug tonight at Memorial Stadium in Wilkes-Barre. Jim Cantafio, the first-year head coach with the Spartans, looking to reverse last year's record, and Kevin Coyne had a super ball game tonight. I can't introduce myself. Oh, John Davies, why don't you introduce my story?
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Jim Miller.
Kevin Coyne, the story for the Crusaders tonight. 5 touchdowns. His first from 12 yards out gave Coughlin the 7-0 lead. Valley West came back with the air game as Marks Lotek on the crossing pattern finds Paul Bruni on the 7-yard scoring play. It cut the lead to a point at 7-6. Following a 90-yard touchdown run, Kevin Coyne came back later in the game as he turns it off from 60 yards out. It was high school football running at its very best. And Coughlin now led the Spartans of Valley West. It was 21-6. He would cap off an absolutely brilliant high school football night with his 2-yard run as Coughlin comes up with the big game tonight and the big win in local high school football.
And the final there, Coughlin 35, Valley West 14.
Now, we've got more coming up after this break. We've got Cowboy Man for you.
Hey, Mike, back it out, Mike. Back it out.
A lot of champions. Joe, what's it like to be a champion? You've been on one 5 times.
Well, it's to be the best of the best. It's something you have a memory of, and it's something you always want to go back and do again. We're going to give it a try and be a 6-time world champion versus 5.
Hey, thanks for the shirts.
Well,
I know we'll give them back in 20 minutes.
Wear them in good health.
And now, taking us to the break, the Valley West Cheerleaders.
Welcome back to Sports Friday. I'm John Davies.
And I'm Jim Miller.
And I'm Sid Michaels.
And I'm Joe Amato.
Hey, how did Abington Heights do tonight? Well, first, wait a minute now. Cowboy Man has the do-rag on, but we don't have a camera to reach all the way in this room, so I'm going to dominate the time. Sandy rolls some Steeler highlights from Jacksonville. How this, baby? Eric Pegram last week. Sweep right side. Does he get in? At the flag. Touchdown. What about Yancey, Thigpen, O'Donnell back the pass over the middle. Thigpen is there, breaks the tackle, dives, touchdown. And then the very end, John L. Williams O'Donnell, middle, dive, touchdown. Steelers back in business. How about that, Cowboy man? Sid, how about Abington
Cowboys
Heights?
with the resurgent Eagles this week, too. We'll hear from him next week. Now, how about Abington Heights? They try to finish the season with a victory tonight at Tunkhannock. Glenn Cronauer was there, the rookie. Hit it, Sandy.
For the final game of the regular season, the Tigers of Tunkhannock play host to the Abington Heights Comets. The Tigers don't waste time as Eric Henry connects with Jason Nurse on the second play of the game for a big gain to the Comets' 24-yard line. The drive would stop as the Tigers miss a field goal try. Abington was first to score with the second quarter chip shot to make it 3-0. The Tigers bounce back. Nurse pulls in another Henry bomb at the Comet 12-yard line. After a few penalties from the 22-yard line, Henry finds Nurse for the touchdown. The extra point is good, and the Tigers are ahead 7-3. The Comets have the ball with only seconds left in the first half as quarterback Eric Miller hits Derek Belechak for the touchdown. The extra point is no good, and Abington Heights leads Tunkhannock 9-7 at the half. Trailing by only 2 points at halftime, the Tunkhannock Tigers, who are winless this season, are giving the Abington Heights Comets a run for their money. For the second half, will Abington Heights bring out the team they have going to the playoffs, or will this be upset special of the week? Abington drives down the field in the third quarter. Is faced with 4th and goal from the 5. Jeremy Rosina runs the ball in for the score. Another extra point try is no good. Abington is up 15-7. The Tigers weren't finished. Henry finds Nurse again for another big game, this time to the Comet 5-yard line. But the Comet defense got tough as on 4th and goal, a fake field goal attempt fails. The Abington Heights Comets win the game and are the top seed in the District 2 Quad A playoffs. For Sports Friday, Glenn Cronauer.
Abington Heights beat Tunkhannock 22-7 in the final. And Scranton beat Scranton Prep 20. Scranton Prep.
No, that's right. Scranton did win that ball game. Switch that score around. Scranton beat Scranton Prep, Joe, and the final. That's right.
25-22.
Okay, now also tonight in action, the Old Forge Blue Devils. You're from Old Forge, Joe, and they played Honesdale. Tell us who has that story.
Who has it?
Mark Anthony.
Mark Anthony has the story. Show me a curve.
Our game tonight takes us to the pizza capital of the world, Old Forge, as the Blue Devils take on the Honesdale Hornets. Opening kickoff goes to big tailback Craig Pfaff. Look at the hole he shoots through to take the pumpkin 85 yards, nobody even close, as he puts Honesdale out in front with a quick 6. Extra point, no good. Didn't take long for Old Forge to get jealous and get revenge. Number 42, Jesse Appenap blasts over the right tackle, outruns Craig Pfaff and smokes for 55 yards for the score. With the kick, makes it 7-6. Then check the grab on the pass by Brian Gillow to number 23, Ron Sporer. Raise your hand if you're sure. That sets up the TD Mosh from Pfaff to go up 12-7. And both teams tonight in playoff contention. A lot of passing and a lot of running as they try to keep their playoff hopes alive. And a big second half from Honesdale puts them out in front for the game, 41-14. For Channel 28 Sports Friday, I'm Mark Anthony.
And the final of that one will say Honesdale 41, Old Forge 14. You don't have to worry about that because I can't drag race like you either. So
yeah, well, I wish Old Forge would have been a winner tonight. It would have made it more fun.
They'll be back. They'll be back. Jim and John.
High school action in the Williamsport area. For those highlights, here is
Joe Garrison.
Do it, Joe.
If you're keeping score at home, just try to keep up. That's State College in white scoring first. Quarterback Steve Weaver to Mark Hagan from 11 yards out. State College up 7-0 early. A State College fumble deep in their end allows this 8-yard touchdown run by Williamsport's Steve Waugh to tie the score at 7. Lions next possession. Quarterback Steve Weaver was 7 for 8 passing on the drive, including this 19-yard touchdown pass to 45. Chris Sheridan of State College with the lead. Still second quarter with time running out. That's senior Mike Harrell running through 2 tackles. 54 yards later, the Millionaires are down inside the Little Lion 10-yard line. 3 plays later, the home offense says Wah not and calls Wah's number once again. This score tied the game at the half. Game 2 tonight, playoff-like atmosphere. Both teams only have 1 loss as the South Williamsport Mounties cross the river to face the Loyal Sock Lancers. South is up by 1 at the half. The only score of the second half right here. Quarterback Andy Brown of South Williamsport to Jason Newcomer. This 30-yard touchdown gave them the game, the West Branch title, and the right to host this very same Loyal Sock team next week in the playoffs. For Sports Friday, I'm Jolton Joe Garrison.
Williamsport
Very sincerely.
There we are.
There you go, John.
How about that? South Williamsport 20, Loyal Suck 13.
And congratulations to the Millionaires of Williamsport tonight. Now for all the scores of other games played throughout the area.
And as always,
we sincerely hope your favorite team wins.
All right, Joe. Now we're coming back with Bob Sura, Penn State, Notre Dame. We're coming back with everything. We go to break. Here again is the Valley West Cheerleaders. Welcome back to Sports Friday, everyone. Jim Miller, John Davies, Sid Michaels, Joe Amato, Bob Sura's first game in the pros. How'd he do?
First regular season game tonight in Orlando. Do we have some of the highlights of that one for you? Bob hit a three-pointer. Bob was 2 for 5 from the field.
Oh, scoop!
He was 1 for 2 from the free throw line. Bob Sura tonight, John Davies had
6 points and 6 assists.
Wait a minute now, it's good.
Orlando won the ball game.
Hey, racing. What about racing?
No Winston Cup race this week. Joe, next week, Jeff Gordon will win his first Winston Cup championship. What's he feeling from a former champ?
Well, he's got a lot of pressure on him, but I'm sure he's going to handle it real good. He's a young kid. He's a hot shot. It's something, a lifetime dream to be a world champion, and he's got it right in his grasp. All he's got to do is go out there and do what he's been doing all year, and he'll be the champion.
And we know you'll get another one next year. Number 6.
Hey, Penn State tomorrow, Northwestern, Notre Dame, and Navy. Steelers on Sunday, Eagles on Monday. Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate it a great deal. That's it for Sports Friday. See you on Monday. Here's the Valley West Cheerleaders taking us out. Have a great weekend. Cheers!
Sports Friday. Hi, we're the Hanover Area Marching Band, and Sports Friday starts now.
Now! Start tonight's program.
Sports Friday. Sports Friday. Sports Friday.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. Special luck to the Hanover Area Marching Band tomorrow night in the competition at the Lackawanna County Stadium. Jim Miller, Sid Michaels, week 11 of high school football and the first week of postseason competition, and Sid starts us off.
And we already see a big victory today for North Schuylkill. You know, I was talking with somebody in Allentown tonight. They said all Allentown Central Catholic had in their vision was Berwick. They were looking at Berwick. Well, they looked a little bit ahead, and North Schuylkill caught them tonight. District 11 AAA final, one of the games we were at tonight. Carletta, hit it. 3 times in the first 3.5 minutes tonight, but Allentown Central Catholic could only turn that into one score. Matt Seneca hits Tony Stewart to make it 7-0 Central Catholic. North Schuylkill will get that back almost immediately. Bob Wbre takes the kickoff at his own 15-yard line. He gets some good blocking, gets some daylight, gets the outside, and he was gone. 85 yards for the touchdown. This one was tied at 7. Central Catholic would then go 87 yards to regain the lead. Tom Williams caps the drive with a 3-yard bolt up the middle. It's 13-7. North Schuylkill again responds. Jason Mohap tosses 9 yards to Dave Magnus. The Vikings score twice in the last 5 minutes. They pull a major upset, 27-20 over Allentown Central Catholic. Eastern Conference playoffs, Bethlehem Catholic rode the arm of quarterback Mike Palos over Scranton Prep. He hits John Fistner 16 yards for this third quarter touchdown. Palos, who sat behind All-American Dan Kendra a year ago, would also return an interception for a touchdown and make a touchdown-saving tackle on a kickoff. In addition to passing his team over Scranton Prep tonight, they advance in the Eastern Conference playoffs. And now let's go to the scoreboard. Again, congratulations, North Schuylkill. They win the District 11 AAA championship 27-20 over Allentown Central Catholic. In that Eastern Conference game, it was Becca High 39, Prep 14. Jimmy?
This is Gene running the show. Tony over there working real hard. Sports Friday rolls right along. 2 more games tonight, one in Catawissa, the other in Mount Carmel for that doubleheader. Here is Steve Shenevy.
After an undefeated regular season, Southern Columbia didn't skip a beat heading into the playoffs. Quarterback Brad Osavala continued to pile up the numbers with 3 touchdowns in the first quarter. Here he hits Andy Hellwig, who's wide open down the sideline. That sets up Osavala's 9-yard pass to Joe Murphy on the slant in the end zone. Bob Chesney tried to fire up his troops. They took advantage of a rare mistake by the Tigers quarterback as Michael Pitta steps in front of Hellwig, makes the pick, and sprints 40 yards to put Lords on the board. But it didn't take long for the Tigers to strike back as Rico Rossini takes the handoff, breaks through the line, and sprints down the sideline. He stops short of the goal line, but the 49-yard pickup sets up Joe Murphy's 4-yard blast up the middle as the Big Cats go on to maul the Red Raiders. While Southern Columbia continues to roll toward a second straight state champion, another defending state champ season is winding down, even with the win tonight. The Mount Carmel Red Tornado season will end next week in the Eastern Conference Championship game. Junior back Dan Malakowski finds the sideline in the third quarter and scrambles 30 yards to try and stretch the Mount Carmel lead, but Mike Davis stands in the way of 6 points. The Panther Valley defense held its ground, stopping Joe Costello on 3rd and goal. Then on 4th down, Anthony Chernow chases down Vic Kranaski as the Panthers take over. 4 plays later, though, a blocked punt would set up 1st and goal from the 1, and Costello had the honor of crashing across the stripe as Mount Carmel picks up the win and gears up for the Eastern Conference Championship game next Saturday. For Sports Friday, Steve Shenevy, 28 Eyewitness Sports.
Scoreboard once again, Southern Columbia over Lords Regional 48-22. Mount Carmel shuts out Panther Valley 34-0, Sid.
Jim introduced you to Tony and Gargiola from Dunmore, a friend of Coach Jack Hens's. We hope, Coach, that you're doing well after your little collapse on the sideline last week. We heard you were, and we wish you, your team, luck tomorrow afternoon as you play Dallas, as well as luck to all the teams tomorrow in the district playoffs. Tonight, Eastern Conference playoffs, the final game for Hazleton area head coach Rich Matz. They went against Whitehall. Glenn Cronauer was there and has a story.
We pick up the action in the second quarter with the Hazleton Cougars leading the Whitehall Zephyrs 7-0. Zephyr ball at the Cougar 5-yard line. Quarterback Matt Schultz finds tight end John Moyer for the score. The extra point makes it a tie at 7. Whitehall ball still in the second. Schultz hits Moyer again, this time for a 20-yard score. They take the point after and successfully go for 2. It's 15-7 Whitehall.
The first half was hard-hitting football. Here's an example. Look at this punt return by Whitehall. But the Hazleton Cougars continue to play this hard. It's possible they could turn the momentum of this game and rally from an 8-point halftime deficit.
Hazleton begins to roll as quarterback Dave Latoff hits Mike Fedorko for the 35-yard touchdown pass. The 2-point try failed. Hazleton closes the gap to 15-13. Cougars are driving again. Ryan Saxon gets the handoff and goes 19 yards for the go-ahead touchdown. They get the 2 and go ahead 21-15 in the third. Whitehall drives to the Cougar 5-yard line. We're on 4th and goal. Moyer misses the pass. Hazleton holds the Zephyrs. But it wasn't enough as Hazleton loses a close one to Whitehall. For Sports Friday, Glenn Cronauer.
And the final there, Whitehall wins it 22-21, James.
Shamokin played Athens tonight. We're still looking for that score. Help us out. Give us a call right here at the Big 2-8. Cowboy man, do-rag, ready for the 49ers. We're Sports Friday, and we'll be right back.
Sports